The Dalai Lama is the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism, which is a branch of Buddhism that originated in Tibet. The title Dalai Lama is a combination of the Mongolic word Dalai, meaning ocean, and the Tibetan word Lama, meaning teacher. He is considered a living bodhisattva. The current Dalai Lama, whose real name is Tenzin Gyatso Ne Lama Thondup. He was born on July 6, 1935. In the small village of Taksar in northeastern Tibet, which is now part of China. His siblings are Thubten Jigme Norbu, Tsering Dolma, Jetsun Pema, Gyalo Thondup, Tenzin Chigil, Lobsang Samden. The Dalai Lama's parents were Chikyong Tsering and Dikit Tsering. His father, Chikyong Tsering, was a farmer, and his mother, Dikit Tsering, was a housewife. They lived in the small village of Taksar in northeastern Tibet. The Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, grew up in the village of Taksar in northeastern Tibet, which is now part of China. At the age of 2, he was recognized as the reincarnation of the 13th Dalai Lama and was brought to Lhasa, the capital city of Tibet, where he received his education and training as the spiritual leader of Tibet. However, following the occupation of Tibet by China in 1959, the Dalai Lama was forced into exile and has since lived predominantly in India. The Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, began his training for spiritual development at a very young age. After being recognized as the reincarnation of the 13th Dalai Lama at the age of 2, he was taken to Lhasa, the capital city of Tibet, where he underwent a rigorous education and training as the spiritual leader of Tibet. He received teachings from various renowned scholars and masters of Tibetan Buddhism, studying subjects such as philosophy, meditation, Tibetan language, and rituals. His training involved both academic study and intense spiritual practice, including contemplation and meditation techniques. The Dalai Lama's spiritual development has been ongoing throughout his life, as he continues to deepen his understanding and practice of Buddhism. The term Dalai Lama has a specific meaning. It is a combination of two words, Dalai and Lama. The Dalai Lama, as a spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism, follows the vow of celibacy. Therefore, he does not have a wife or engage in any romantic relationships. His focus is on his spiritual practice, teachings, and promoting peace and compassion in the world. The Dalai Lama is believed to be the reincarnation of a line of spiritual leaders, with the current Dalai Lama being the 14th in this lineage. The role of the Dalai Lama is to guide and inspire his followers, promote peace and compassion, and serve as a symbol of Tibet's cultural identity. The word Dalai is a Mongolic word that translates to ocean or vast in English. It refers to the expansive wisdom and knowledge that the Dalai Lama is believed to possess. The word Lama is a Tibetan word that means teacher or spiritual guide. Lamas are highly respected spiritual leaders within Tibetan Buddhism. So, when combined, Dalai Lama can be understood as ocean of wisdom or vast teacher. It represents the idea that the Dalai Lamas are recognized as not only spiritual teachers, but also sources of profound wisdom and guidance within the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. The 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, has received several awards throughout his life. Here are a few notable ones. Nobel Peace Prize, 1989. The Dalai Lama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his nonviolent efforts to resolve the conflict between Tibet and China, and promote peace, human rights, and religious harmony globally. Congressional Gold Medal, 2007. He received this honor, which is the highest civilian award in the United States, in recognition of his advocacy for peace, freedom, and human rights. Templeton Prize, 2012. The Dalai Lama was awarded the Templeton Prize for his exceptional contributions to spiritual progress and dialogue, emphasizing the importance of compassion, ethics, and interfaith understanding. Gandhi Peace Prize, 2005. This prestigious award was presented to the Dalai Lama for his consistent efforts in spreading the message of peace, nonviolence, and religious harmony. These are just a few examples of the numerous international awards and honors the Dalai Lama has received throughout his lifetime. For his remarkable contributions towards global peace, human rights, and religious understanding. He retired from political responsibilities in 2011. But he continues to be an influential figure globally, working to promote human values, interfaith harmony, and ethical leadership. The Dalai Lama is regarded as a highly revered spiritual leader within Tibetan Buddhism. However, it's important to note that the concept of spiritual power can be interpreted differently depending on one's beliefs and perspectives. Within the context of Tibetan Buddhism, the Dalai Lama is seen as a figure who embodies spiritual wisdom, compassion, and enlightenment. He is considered to be the reincarnation of his predecessors, who were believed to have attained high spiritual realization and dedicated their lives to the benefit of others. The Dalai Lama's spiritual power is believed to reside in his deep understanding of Buddhist teachings, his ability to transmit these teachings to others, and his embodiment of compassion and nonviolence. Through his teachings, guidance, and actions, the Dalai Lama seeks to inspire others towards inner peace, compassion for all beings, and the cultivation of positive qualities. It's important to remember that spirituality and its perception can vary among individuals and cultures, and interpretations of spiritual power can differ. The Dalai Lama does not hold any political authority or administrative role within Tibet. Since going into exile in 1959, the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile have relied on donations from individuals, organizations, and governments to support their activities and initiatives. The Dalai Lama's main sources of funding come from private donations, contributions from Buddhist organizations, and support from governments sympathetic to the Tibetan cause. He also generates income through the sales of his books, lectures, and public appearances. It's important to note that the specific financial arrangements and sources of income for the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile may vary over time and can be subject to change. However, they generally rely on financial support from external sources to sustain and promote their activities. It is fair to say that the Dalai Lama is widely regarded as a spiritual leader who aims to help and guide people. He is seen as a source of inspiration and wisdom, promoting peace, compassion, and ethical values. The Dalai Lama's teachings and public engagements focus on fostering inner peace, promoting human values, and advocating for justice, equality, and compassion for all beings. He works to provide guidance and support to individuals seeking spiritual development, personal well-being, and a deeper understanding of life's purpose. Moreover, the Dalai Lama uses his influence and platform to raise awareness about global issues, such as environmental conservation, human rights, and interfaith harmony. He advocates for nonviolence, understanding, and dialogue as means to address conflicts and promote positive change in the world. While the Dalai Lama's role extends beyond spiritual leadership and encompasses efforts to address societal issues, his main focus remains on guiding individuals towards spiritual growth and helping them lead more meaningful, compassionate lives. The Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile have been actively engaged in charitable work and contributions to society. Here are some of the notable aspects of their philanthropic efforts. Education. The Dalai Lama has emphasized the importance of education and has been instrumental in promoting educational initiatives, particularly for Tibetan refugees. The government in exile operates schools, colleges, and universities in India, providing education and support to Tibetan students. Healthcare. The Tibetan government in exile has established clinics and hospitals to provide healthcare services to Tibetan communities in exile. They also support medical initiatives and promote traditional Tibetan medicine. Culture and heritage preservation. The Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile have been committed to preserving Tibetan culture, language, and heritage. They have established cultural institutions and centers to promote and safeguard Tibetan arts, music, dance, and literature. Humanitarian aid. The Tibetan government in exile, with the support of various organizations, provides humanitarian aid to Tibetan refugees and individuals in need, offering support in areas such as housing, livelihood, and disaster relief. Environmental conservation. The Dalai Lama has consistently advocated for environmental protection and conservation. He has encouraged sustainable practices, emphasized the importance of ecological responsibility, and called for action to address climate change. It's important to note that the extent and specific details of the charitable efforts may vary over time, depending on available resources and changing circumstances. However, the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile continue to prioritize projects and initiatives aimed at benefiting the Tibetan community and society as a whole. Peace to the world is a noble aspiration that we strive for.